Welcome to CONVO. Thank you for tuning in yet again. We've received an overwhelming response from our first video, and we want to sincerely thank you here from the staff at CONVO. Our topic for today is children raising parents. This will be episode 1 of 2. Since there's so much information to go through, we don't want to jam-pack this episode with all of it. So stay tuned for the second one as well. We also chose not to receive any comments from our audience because we want you to form your opinion from watching this episode. So stay tuned and you will see everything that you would need to form that opinion. Now, sharing a personal story of my own, my parents raised me, of course, to be the wonderful young lady that I am today. Thanks, Mom. But they also set boundaries as to what time I need to come home, what to expect when I didn't do something that I was supposed to, as well as if I did not follow the rules, what was going to happen. In 2014, is that really as a parent as it used to be? I wouldn't say so myself. In 2009, there was a young man who was so angry at his mother, he decided to chop off her head and put it on the porch. This young man was so troubled, and I guess a lack of communication with his parents caused him to lash out. Now, by lashing out, now he has ruined his life because he's now in jail, all because of not speaking with his parents. Let's create a foundation for our children to know that we're here for you. Bad behavior is often rewarded. There was a young man in one of the part-time jobs that I had years ago, and he was acting a plumb fool. He was bouncing around the store, he was picking up items, he was throwing them at his mother, and she still opted to buy him whatever it was that she told him that she was going to buy before they came to the store. Now, if I had reacted that way and I was in the store with my parents, do you think that I would have received that? I would have received that. Not that item, but that nice little butt whooping. Discipline. Would you say that children lash out because there's no discipline in the home? Maybe, maybe not. That can be up to the parent, the child, maybe the other family members that are in the household. When I say discipline, I don't necessarily mean a whooping, thrashing, spanking, however you may categorize it. But also, discipline can be in the form of taking away something that they value, whether they're into electronics like cell phones, Nintendo DS's, laptops. That may be more productive, taking that away, as opposed to spanking. It depends on the child. Now, you also have to follow through on what you're saying. If you told them that they couldn't go out this weekend, make sure they do not go. If you still give them that option to go, despite of what you said, they will not take you seriously as a parent. I wouldn't either. That's almost as if your boss told you you couldn't get a raise and they gave you one anyway. It makes no sense. Let's just keep it going, guys. Just stay consistent. As well as establishing a parent-child relationship. Let's make sure they understand that you are the parent. No matter how many temper tantrums they may throw, or how upset they get at you, or even if they stay out all night just to prove a point to you, they still know, this is my parents' home, their rules, and I need to abide by them. Now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but coming up, we will show you a clip of some ideal parenting. Stay tuned. Welcome back. And as promised, we have a clip of parenting at its best. Now, I'm not going to say my opinion until afterwards, but you form your own and let me know how you feel about it. While watching this clip, pay attention closely to what he's saying.
You 13, ho? You wanna be a mama? Put it on Facebook, have no business. Video that house and all that shit. Now you said, but you know you grown, bitch. Like, you know, I'm bitch on motherfucker.
it's difficult as a parent to watch something like that. The dynamics of family, I want to say, has changed tremendously. I understand that a father is upset, that his father is upset that his daughter has not returned. Let me just give a backdrop of the story. The young lady is 13 years old, and she was away from home for about 2 or 3 days. And when she came home, she came back dressed like that. Keep in mind, she is 13. I understand that as a 13-year-old, you should not be dressed that way. You shouldn't leave the home that way. But as a father, to publicly humiliate your daughter and to call her out of her name and to pull her hair, that's taking it to the extreme. That's not discipline. That right there is beating your child, which I do not condone at all. Just because you are able to reproduce does not make you a parent. Let me say that. Watching that video, you also have to keep in mind that if that young girl did leave home for 2 days, there had to be some type of lack of communication. It had to be something that was going on in her home in order for her to not want to be there. And for her to return home like that, and also for the comment that the father was saying, she wants to be like her mother. What does that mean? I'm not saying that the little girl's going down a road of destruction, of selling her body or doing what, because I'm not sure. But I will say to that father, if you knew the mother was like that to begin with, why choose to have children with that woman? You cannot change everything. And you definitely cannot change an adult if they don't want to. I'm not going to keep going about that. I'm getting a little upset. So let's switch gears for a second. There are different ways of raising children, and everyone doesn't raise their children the same. I completely understand. But I stumbled across an article in the New York Times written by Madeline Levine titled Raising Successful Children. In this article, she conducted a study with children solving puzzles, and the puzzles became more difficult. Some children were told that they were doing a great job, and the other children who weren't decided to work harder, and they exhibited more confidence. By no means am I saying for you not to tell your children that they're doing a good job. That's the best thing that you can do, is to be their cheerleader. If you're not there to tell them, keep going, you're doing a really good job, then who's going to do it? That's your job as a parent. Since when do we want social media or our neighbors or anyone else to tell our child, this is the way that you should behave? Because as a parent, if my children went out into the streets and they were misbehaving and someone else had to tell them how to act, I have not done my job as a parent. And you should feel the same way. Why put them in a society where they're already being criticized and ridiculed? Have them ready for the world. You can't do everything, but you definitely can show them, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. As children, they're going to make mistakes. So give them that margin of error. Let them make mistakes. It's quite okay. We once were children, and we're still learning. I know I am. Even as a parent, there are some things that I need to improve upon, but just as long as you recognize them, you can change that. Going into our next thing, we're going to take a quick break though. Stay tuned. Welcome to the last segment of the show. Hopefully you've been enlightened thus far, and we'll give you some more information as to what you can apply to your life. Now we're talking about the different parenting styles. They were discovered by a psychologist by the name of Diane Baumrind, and the 3 parenting styles that she described were authoritarian, authoritative, and permissive. For those who are not familiar with those parenting styles, I'll give you a quick description. Authoritarian punishes their children with little or no explanations. They have strict rules, as well as give their children no choices or options. Authoritative is more or less the democratic parenting. They give child a choice, encourages independence, and express opinions. Permissive parenting style. They have few standards and rules. The rules are inconsistent, and they try to be the child's friend more than their parent. In current times, they've done a lot more research and have added a fourth parenting style, which is called the uninvolved parent. Listening to what those characteristics are of that parenting is very close to the permissive parenting. Well, let's go over that as well. The uninvolved parents are emotionally distant from their children. They offer little to no supervision. They're overwhelmed by their own problems, so they can't deal with their children's problems, as well as they don't attend school events and parent-teacher conferences. I ran into a parent that same way at one of my children's schools, and I was a little appalled for her to say that she didn't have any time to volunteer in the classroom because she had to work and her job was more important. It just set me back. How could you say something of that sort about your own child? At that point, you are just a breeder of a child, just like they breed dogs. You're just there. You were the carrier. There's also another viral video that's on YouTube or maybe WorldStar, any of those big name that carry those videos. But there's a young man, I believe he's about 3 or 4 years old. He's at a Chuck E. Cheese, and he's just running rampant. He's terrorizing other people's children. He's on the ski ramp taking other people's balls and throwing them. He's spitting in people's faces. And his parents are nowhere to be found. How can you be in such a public place as such and allow your child to behave that way? There are other people who were trying to get this little boy to calm down or to stop doing what he was doing, but they were too busy videotaping him to put him on the internet. Why didn't no one step in and just tell the little boy, put him in his place? He's 3 or 4 years old. No, he doesn't know any better, but he will stop if an adult tells him to stop. This issue has gotten way out of control. Parents are killing kids. Kids are killing parents. Let's get this under control. It's so many times when I can't even watch the news because I'm tired of hearing about parents selling their children to people for money in exchange for sex. I mean, it's to the point where I'm disgusted. I don't want to see or hear anything that has to do with children that's not in a positive light. We must uphold our children and as well as conduct ourselves with CONVO so we can show them this is the way that you need to act. This is who you need to be. Parents, you are responsible for your kids and their actions. Point blank. Children, you need to respect your parents. They're telling you because they've been through that. They only want the best for you. They're not doing anything that is going to hurt you in the long run, anything that's going to misguide you in any way. Get a hold of your life. Life is so serious. It is. Parenting is serious business. You can't take this lightly. If you think that everything's going to be peaches and cream all the time, you're always going to be holding hands, eating ice cream, and nothing's going to happen. That's not what parenting is. There's going to be times where you're crying together, where it'll be a misunderstanding between you two, but at least the communication is there. Keep those lines open. If people continue to talk to their children, and their children will in turn talk to you instead of their friends, or putting all their business on social media, or twerking for the camera, or doing things for likes, or doing things for the vine. How about you do things for your child? Don't go to the club and spend all this money on bottles and shoes and purses and weave. Get things in order. And if you can't do that, then please put your child up for adoption. Yeah, I said it. You should not have had them. That child did not choose to be here. You chose for that child to be here. Think about this. You're being so selfish right now. But I digress because I don't want to beat you up. I just want to let you know that as a concerned parent, I am concerned. Let's help each other out. Let's not beat each other up. Show each other's flaws, and improve upon things that you know that would help the other person. Now, it's been a great show. Love for you guys to chime in for the next time. So check us out on social media, as well as our email, whichever way is good for you. But that's the end of the show. Tune in next time. Peace.